Hi, my name is Lance. I just want to introduce my channel and kind of what it's about, who I am, and majorly just talk about the subject of building financial wealth. This is a subject I am constantly reading about, I'm always working on, and it's a big part of my life and my business. So I've always wanted to make a series on wealth building, and this is it. So, a little about me. I'm not going to be that guy who's going to be like, this is how you make $1 million by the time you're 25 or 30 or something like that. That's just not who I am. I'm not going to tell you I'm some millionaire at a young age. I'm 24, and I do feel like I am wealthy for my age. I'm doing very well for my age. I've always been very intertwined with finances. My dad owns a business, and he's taught me so much over the years. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. My dad owns a company, a very successful one, and it taught me a lot of things. And it gave me a lot of advantages, especially knowledge-wise, to get ahead in life. I try convincing family and friends to follow the advice I'm about to give, and this is why I've wanted to build a series on this, because I really think this is something anyone can do. I am not some millionaire 24-year-old. I'm not. I'm really not. And I'll be honest, one of the main ways I've gotten to where I am is just by being smart with my money, things that anyone can do. For example, I do work a full-time job, but I also do own a company at the same time. It brings in nice side cash. I really enjoy it, but I also have a lot of ways of earning passive income through investments, liquidity lending, things like that. I also own a home in which I rent out rooms. That really helps as well, bring in extra income. There's a lot of different things that I do that really brings in extra wealth and has gotten me very successful at a young age. And this is something anyone can do at any age. And this is something they should teach everyone. It actually makes me mad they don't teach this in school. If someone told me when I was 18 years old, Lance, if you put just $50 a month into a mutual fund, a good mutual fund, every month, by the time you retire, you're going to have $1 million. I would say, no, that's not true. And if I knew what I knew now when I was 18 years old, I'd be like, oh my God, it's true. You will have $1 million+ by the time you retire by putting away $50 a month at 18. And now it's crazy because once you start investing, even just a couple years later, when I started investing seriously at 22 and 23, it's not the same. It takes way more. It takes almost twice as much to invest to get to the same amount as it would have if I was 18 years old. And I learned the power of compounding interest. And it was so amazing to learn. And it made me realize how lucky I was to even realize it at the age I was. But this is, again, something they should teach everybody. Why don't we learn this? Senior year of high school, sit down, I'm gonna tell you how to be successful. Put $50 away. You don't need that $50. Do it. Like, it's really that simple. And if you can't afford $50, there's ways of getting to there, because I know that struggle. I did grow up in an entrepreneurial house, and I grew up very lucky, very lucky. But one of the biggest advantages I had was knowledge, because I wish I used it at a younger age, but I didn't. And I got myself into a lot of financial struggles early on, and I had to dig myself out. I bought a brand new car when I was 18. I did not need that new car. I could not afford that new car. I moved out somewhere that I could not afford rent. And long story short, I had a lot of debt on my shoulder. But I think it's just the way that I was raised. I was taught that you gotta handle your own issues that you create. And I'll be honest, if I went to my dad and I said, Dad, give me some money, I messed up, he would have helped me. He really would have. But I couldn't do that. And don't get me wrong, he offered it too. And I wanted to take him up on that, but I'm glad that I was stubborn, that I wanted to prove to myself that I could fix my mistakes and make it better. And it was hard. I had to drop out of college, just for a little bit, but I had to. And I had to figure out, how do I make more money? I first started selling computers. I started selling computers on the side, and had a small little business going about it, but it wasn't making enough. And I also was a barista at the time for Starbucks, and I wasn't making enough money. And I remember so clearly the decision of who will pay some 18, 19-year-old kid enough money to pay off this ridiculous debt that I have now. And nobody. So I kind of decided, okay, I'm gonna have to get a sales job, something that I can make commission and give me some light of a chance to pay off the debt and still be able to pay my next month's bills. That I took that chance. And I remember I got a job at a phone store, and I did horrible. I was horrible at it. I read so many books on how to sell, how to be confident, and I know it sounds nerdy, but I was just reading about it. What do other people do? I started calling the people that I worked with that were the most successful in the company. You could see who made the most commission. And I would call them and ask them, would you mind answering some of my questions? I will show up wherever you want to go, and I will buy you a lunch and a beer. And I can't tell you how every lunch and beer that I bought was so worth it. I learned so much from these people. After I learned as much as I could from them, I really started practicing it in person. And I remember I made a lot of cringy mistakes, ways of just making it so I don't even want to describe those stories right now, but I have a lot of crazy stories from this time. After 2 months of working for that company, from the first month where I was actually the worst salesperson in the company, by the second month, I was the third top salesman in the company, and I was also the only part-timer because I started going back to school at this time and I couldn't work full-time. And I started making money. It was that commission that I started making. I lived paycheck to paycheck, throwing it all into debt. And I remember selling as many computers as I could. But I survived it. It took years and a lot of dedication. And honestly, the only way I was able to pay a lot of my bills is I was racking on credit cards. And that is the worst thing you could do. In hindsight, the amount of possibilities I had to get myself out of that and the credit card debt was honestly the worst. It's highway robbery, the kind of interest rates that they charge you. But I had to survive that, and I did survive that, and I came out a better, bigger person because of it. I am so glad that I was stubborn, because it made me learn that I didn't just go to my dad and say, "Dad, can you bail me out of this? I really screwed up." Because as I said before, he would have helped me. My dad's really amazing. He's a really talented, smart, amazing pops, and he would have gotten me out of that debt. That goes with my mom too. She would have done the same thing. But I wanted to do this on my own, and I'm glad that I did, because I really learned a lot. And I truly believe, because of the hardships and my weird stubbornness at a young age to not let my parents help me, that I'm going to be even more successful in life because of it. Because I learned the hard way how to be smart with your money. A lot of my biggest luck honestly came from cryptocurrency. I mean, as I'm recording today, crypto is doing horrible, and I'm still very lucky that I'm in profit, that I bought it when I bought it, and I'm a big blockchain believer. But that's actually not where most of my wealth has come from. It's just come from me making smart financial decisions, making sure I start properly investing it into mutual funds. I'm a big mutual fund person. I put a certain amount of percentage into cryptocurrency. I'm a big person into making sure you get as much investment as you can from everything. Like, one of my main goals was trying to figure out how do I make my monthly bills as low as possible. Because you realize that most of your money goes towards bills. And these are the kind of topics that I want to share with everybody. That the things that I learned is something anyone can do. I want other people to realize that I was able to not only get out of debt, but I was able to build wealth at a young age. But in a matter of fact, when I say a young age, I really mean any age. I don't care what age you are. The things that I've learned can be implemented at any point in life, and that's what I want to share with everybody. Having a side hustle is one of the first ways of bringing in that extra income on top of, obviously, a full-time job. I originally started out by just selling computers to anyone who wanted to buy a computer. I built customized computers, and that kind of moved into a new transition in life. That's kind of why I wanted to be a network engineer, and I started becoming a network engineer. That's what I got my degree in, and of course, that's not what I got my job in. Apparently there's a lot of millennials in that same position. But the final year of college, I had a job where half the people quit, and it wasn't even anything bad. It was an amazing company. They just got really amazing offers at the wrong time, and I was newly hired, and I had to figure it out and be 50% of the IT staff. And I started heavily programming, because it was the only way I could figure out how to handle everything. And I actually started my programming career. I ended up self-teaching myself C#, Python, JavaScript, HTML, everything you can imagine. I learned it all there. And a year later, got hired as a software engineer with an amazing company. And that kind of started my software career, which is then where I started my software company, which started taking off. And I still work as a full-time software engineer, but my software company also brings me a good amount of extra side income. When I had that extra side income, I was also investing at the same time. I'm a big cryptocurrency person, and I actually started my own mining farm. I actually have been mining for a long time, I think since 2016 maybe, so a while, but never seriously, never enough to actually have like real cash with it. But when I started my company, I was like, you know what, I have a lot of extra servers because of my company and I have all this extra income. I just want to do it, and I started mining a lot more, and that started becoming a really nice extra passive income, especially when it all really took off in 2020. And between my cryptocurrency and my job and my company, I ended up buying a house, and then I ended up renting out rooms. And so then that became another passive income. And then I started getting into liquidity lending, and there is so many ways that I began to build this passive income stream that it really became life-changing. And at 24 years old, I've built really amazing wealth for where I am in life, how old I am, and it was a big eye-opener when I started really helping others with the same thing. I started advising towards it, even though I'm not financially advising right now. This is educational purposes only. That's what I love about financing. There's so many things to talk about here. I want to talk about, cryptocurrency. I love that. I want to talk about passive income. I want to talk about building your wealth. I want to talk about how do you get more income. There's so many topics that I want to share and educate everyone on. And I really think that this can be relatable to everyone. So thank you so much for coming to this channel. I'm very new to the YouTube scene. I don't know how many people are going to see this, but this is going to be enjoyable for me. I would love to talk about this more, and just thank you so much for at least seeing this video, for giving me the view, and I hope you like the advice that I'm going to be giving.